Good evening and welcome back. Of course, the commodities are telling me a story. I'm going to look at some of them. I also had a nice request on silver, and I know a lot of people are keen on silver to buy silver. But the first request was definitely Brent Crude Oil. And the reason why, because the whole world is talking inflation, and America is saying that the inflation is not that bad. I'm sure they look at this chart and they say, but if we look at the Brent crude oil chart, we can see it's going much lower. But I doubt if the Federal Reserve looks at the technical charts, they probably look at something else. And I see their book of definitions has also changed over the years. Last year, they talked about recession, a possible recession. And this year, suddenly, Mr. Powell say, because there's so many companies looking for people to work for them, America cannot be in a recession. But we know, what is the rule? The rule is 2 negative quarters in a row. That's what we call a recession. Mr. Powell, I think he thinks differently. And of course, we know that they've changed the rule of economics many, many times. And it's not anymore Economics 101. It is now the Federal Reserve economics. So let's look at Brent crude oil. I think all of you will be surprised to see this chart. In actual fact, many of you will say, Frans, but can this be true? Well, if you look at this chart, I see a beautiful head and shoulder formation. Remember, Brent crude oil went almost to 127. I can remember when it got to about 127, 130. Everybody was talking, it's going to 170, it's going to 200, and suddenly it's slowly but surely losing momentum. This magical level is $100. Now, if we can get below $100, what can we see? We can see that there's left shoulder, 2 left shoulders. There's the beautiful head, 1 shoulder, another shoulder. So here we've got 2 shoulders, 1 head, 2 shoulders, and that's not strange. Because sometimes we do get a few, you can almost say, shoulders following up on each other. But the big thing is not the amount of shoulders that you see. The big thing is the neckline. And the neckline is sitting spot on $100. You can almost say above $100, but let's call it $100 because, I mean, this is the commodity of the world that drives inflation. But what can we see? If it gets below $100, let's have a look first of all. I've got a conservative target. I'm going to do the projection straight away. That's about 94. But look at this one. I think if this starts to play out, we can definitely see that inflation pressures will almost sort of, you can say, go down a bit and people can have a breather. Now, the full projection of this is, of course, below $100. The formation will kick in. That's the first rule. And the second rule is maybe it can get to this 95 level. If it plays out in full, this head and shoulder formation, can it take down all the way to $81. So that will be great for the world because this head and shoulder is usually what we call a pattern. It's telling you that the pattern wants to tell you that something is wrong on the chart, and this is exactly. So let's hope that Brent oil becomes weaker. It's below 100. And where will this left shoulder, the right shoulder will be wiped off the table? It will be above, and there's your level. When it gets above 111 oil, Brent, if it gets above $111, then unfortunately, this right shoulder is wiped off the table, and then we can see upward momentum again from there. Our next request was on silver in dollar terms. Now, I know a lot of people that love to buy silver. They buy the silver Krugerrand, they buy the new, or you can almost say the new silver product on the market. And why? Because silver is just a commodity like gold, but there's a lot of rumors floating around that the world will get to a point where there's a shortage of silver and silver can spike. So that's why I think a lot of people are keen on silver. So for me, it's quite simple. I don't buy silver, so I haven't got silver in my portfolio. Yes, sometimes I buy what we call that new silver. That's a very interesting. That's an exchange traded note that you can buy on the JSE. It is all in paper. but it reflects the silver price in dollar. So it's a nice unit to buy if you want to buy silver or even gold. You can buy new gold also doing that. And the reason being that I like it is because then you haven't got the physical stuff. Oh yes, we would love to have the physical stuff, but sometimes the security around it is just not, worth to have it, so then rather have the paper. But my request was, how does silver looks like? And there you are. Above 1945, we saw this beautiful resistance line that actually showed us the downtrend, turned into a support, and from there it put in a new nice rally. For me personally, I think in about 5 sessions all the way from $18.40 straight to $20, it's a big move. It's almost a 20% move. So if you want to buy it, yes, then you, at this point in time, you're only going to buy momentum. And where is the place to buy above? It will be above $20.53. Make use of a stop loss of, there you are, $19.91. And where can it go to? I think there is a chance for $21.38, but there's big resistance around here. Sometimes, if I see so many candles, I get the middle point, and then I say, okay, there's the middle point. So that tells me around this level, there was a lot of buyers and sellers. Of course, there's a lot of resistance there as well. So for me, silver needs to get above $21.79 to really give us a nice push to the upside. Otherwise, unfortunately, it is still a speculative trade, but at least you see a beautiful reversal here of some strong candles. And where was the clue? The clue was this little dragonfly candle. I told you some people were buying in dips. And I always have a few favorite candles. I mean, if you want them, you can always drop us an email, admin@fransklerk.com. I will send it through to you, or Christelle will send it through to you. And then you can study them because they are reliable over many, many, many years. Let us look at platinum. Same thing with platinum, same thing with silver. A nice rounding bottom here. I like this chart. We recovered in a matter of, let's call it 14 days, from $842 straight away up to $910. Nice strong move up here. So I like this. It looks positive to me. But for me, if you want to buy it again, it's again a momentum trade. I'm going to show you, there's the nice strong support. Just want to get the line there. There you are. Above this level, and that level is, let's get that level. Above, there you are, 902. The momentum is to the upside, so yes, you can still buy it above 902. In actual fact, the next move to the top will probably be above 9115. So buy above 9115. Use a stop loss of 902. I'm going to open up that stop loss a little bit because 902 is very narrow. 886. So use a stop loss of 886, and yes, it can maybe go to the top of that candle there, 934, 955, and of course then the magical level will be 1,000. Let us look at Sibanye. Sibanye is a platinum play. It's a silver play. It is a gold play, so everybody will love it. So, but the share is really struggling, and I'm using a candlestick chart here, but I see some positivity coming into this chart. And I think it was Ronald that asked me about it, but Ronald, can you see this beautiful inverse hammer? An hammer right at the bottom. I like to call it an inverse hammer because usually from the top it just hit out the lows and it carries on. But then you get to a point that inverse hammer say, you will not go lower, I want to buy there. And remember, I always say, see a candle forming like that, that's not Frans that is buying, or Koos, or Jan, or Johnny, or whatever the case may be. That must be a lot of people that decide to say, and let's say, that low will be at 3608. At that point in time, many investors say, it cannot go lower, and then they get into buy. The only thing that worries me is that we're on the brink of testing this support line again. Look at it. That support line is on the brink of breaking down. In actual fact, if we combine the lines there, we can actually see a rising wedge, and the rising wedge will tell you, yes, it can go lower. But for me, while the share is below that 36, above that 3608, for me, that will be positive. So yes, if you want to buy it for a long term, any level close to that. For the momentum traders, only buy above 41.54. Make use of a stop loss of 39.50. And if you want to wait for this rising wedge to play out, wait for it to play out. It will probably go then to 37.09. Then you've got a nice tight stop loss on this candle. Then buy it there for the long term. And I think then you need to have patience, because the company is not doing bad. It's making nice money unless the chart knows something that we don't know. And that we often get. Sometimes you think that the chart looks okay. The company is telling us already that something is wrong, and only later on we'll pick it up. Let us look at Kumba. Kumba is the same story, same thing. Tested the low, nice breakaway candle. That's usually positive. Look at that. I mean, I like that. If you get a share that's been hammered to pieces, then you've got this nice little gap to the top. While this gap is positive, open, it is usually positive. What happened? Kumba gave a beautiful rally. It came back to close this gap, and then it goes up. And now we hope that we can get, there you are, high, higher low there. We hope that it can get above that level. That level is sitting at 485.20. If it can get above that, then the momentum can go to the top. For me personally, same thing again. It is testing this support line. It looks like it wants to break. So for me personally, I will say wait for Kumba to give us some proper reversals. This is not a reversal, so for me, I think maybe it's time to just sit on your hands with Kumba. But of course, if you want to buy it, wait for this momentum to break to the top above 492.55. Make use of a stop loss of 450.81. And maybe you can get all the way back to 520.37 in time to come. Well, there you are. I mean, the commodities tell you that it wants to go up, but the shares are not 100% telling the same story. Well, thank you for visiting the website www.fransdeklerk.com, and thank you for watching the show once again.